Hello, dear folks. Welcome to season 5 of our On the Call series produced by the Stars Among Us. I am Ozzy, and I am very, very happy that you've tuned in to this thank you tour of mine, as each episode is a thank you card, as you know, to those who have impacted my life. And on this 11th episode of season 5, I am shining light on Mario Andreas Robertz. Hello, guys.
Hi, Ozzy.
Hi, Ozzy.
Hi. Now, just before we get into some chit-chat, I'm going to let my audience know who you guys are. And we're going to start with Mario. Mario was born and raised in Mexico City. And at the age of 14, migrated with his family to South Texas, where he learned English quickly and excelled academically. Graduated from high school as a valedictorian and was given a full scholarship to attend Stanford University, folks, where he earned a BA in psychology and an MA in international development education. Mm-hmm. After years of working as an educator, he expanded his studies and practice with an emphasis on depth psychology, counseling and group facilitation, family and organizational systems, Eastern spirituality, and simultaneously he developed professionally as an artist, training and working in his native Mexico and the US. In the past decade, he honed his crafts under the tutelage of Active Studios Life members and veteran teachers Rob Reese and the late Alba Holmes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes.
He has received great reviews on his stage appearances. He's won awards that includes The Mule, which was picked up for broadcasting by HBO Latin America in 2006. Another piece called Falling, Capicu, and Del Otro Lado. I love that. I love to see that. Otro Lado. Mm-hmm. A Spanish language feature film he co-starred in, and in that he also co-produced. His first full-length play, One Less Queen, was published in the anthology Positive Negative Women of Color and HIV. Other plays he has written have been finalists in various competitions selected in festivals including MetLife Foundation. Nuestras Voces competition was a competition, correct?
Yes.
This man has done so much, folks, let me tell you. I've got to choose here.
He goes, no, it's okay. You can stop there.
Yeah. He's also been in the Strawberry Festival, the Samuel French One Act Festival, and in New York, the Village Playwrights, Around the Block, and the Hispanic Organization of Latino Actors, while being also a member of the San Francisco-based Queer Latino Artists Collective. That's interesting. Presently, he is a founding co-director of One Heart Productions, a nonprofit theater and film company. He's been in films such as The Turning Point, a series of one acts that TNC presented. He's been seen in films Falling, available on Netflix, and one-man show Confessions of a Sex Addict. Wow. Okay. So that's part of Mario's resume, folks. This is part. Andreas Robertz.
Yes.
He's an established German theater director with 15 years of experience. Directed, produced more than 30 shows of all genres in theaters ranging from 40 to 900 seats. He developed his expertise while working as an artistic director of the well-known children's and youth theater of the City Theater of Munster. In 2002, he relocated to the city of Cologne, where he served as advisor to the City Arts Council and as residence director of the Art Theater Cologne. And while there, he produced and directed a number of contemporary American, Canadian, and English plays to critical acclaim. Currently, he serves as artistic director for the One Heart Productions with Mario and is a freelance director-producer working in both Germany and New York City. In 2008, he and Mario launched a new project in Berlin, which I'm very interested in, with 5 German actresses and a German playwright as part of an initiative for healing and reconciliation between Jewish and non-Jewish Germans impacted by the Holocaust. And this involves the development of a play to be staged in Berlin and New York City. He received numerous regional and national awards and nominations in Germany for his outstanding work as director, as well as Cologne City Award for his direction of The Pillar Man. You sleepy yet, guys? I'm not done.
No,
okay.
no. We are totally here listening.
Interesting to hear all this.
Yes, that's me.
In New York, he has held readings at the Public Theater as part of the series of the New Czech Voices produced by the Immigrants Theater Project, the Puerto Rican Traveling Theater, Around the Block, One Heart Productions, and at the Theater of the New City, and the Martin E. Segal Theater at CUNY. In 2008, he's received the Golden Penguin for Best Direction at the Penguins Day Festival, the one-woman show, which is My Drug of Choice, by Kai Henzel. And most recently, he co-directed Noemi de la Fuente's Fountain of Youth at the Mint Theater and Richard Plotz's full-length play Deceit at the Theater of the New City. Co-directs the Puerto Rican Traveling Theater Playwrights Unit and is a member of the Lincoln Center Directors Lab Network. Hoo!
You made it.
Bada bing, bada bang. Whoa. Those guys together. Crazy volume of work. So my first question is, have you guys realized your childhood dreams?
That's a very interesting question.
It is. I have to remember my childhood dreams. I think as a child I wanted to become an archaeologist.
Wow.
And I studied it a little bit too in my studies. But now I think in the theater, maybe you can say you dig out emotions and hidden things.
Right.
Maybe yes.
Right.
Yes, I mean, I was always interested in the theater and writing and acting and movies and
Yes.
art, and I think that I was just set out to do that, you know. So yeah, it was set like that, I think, from the beginning, but not so consciously. It was more like playing, and then the playing became professional life.
Yet, in terms of your studies in education psychology, why was that the subject you took on?
I think the reason is because I'm fascinated by human psychology, and I care really deeply about communities and community building and social transformation. And those are the things that I studied professionally first before I came into the world of
dealing
art.
with these crazy minds.
Right. And then I incorporated all of that into my work as an artist. So it just strengthened it because, of course, in order to be an artist, you have to be very attuned to human nature and you need to understand what it's about to some degree. Mm-hmm. So all of it has come together as a holistic thing for me.
So, Andreas, what is your philosophy as a director?
That's also something that developed. I think my first impulse as a director was always to find a connection between the material I have to direct and what I'm going through in my life right now. What intrigues me by this play, why the universe gives me this play at this moment in my hands and I have to do it like that. So I think that impulse is still there. I still want to make my work very personal to me and honest, also outrageous in a way that I follow my aesthetical impulse of what I want to tell, and that sometimes is not the same thing that the playwrights want to say. So I have to remind the playwright that what he wrote is bigger than him, because it is inspired by the play. What I discovered more and more is that my main task as a director is to really create kind of a sacred space for actors and the artistic team to be able to do the same thing I want to do. Take the material, make it yourself, but also express yourself and not only what the playwright wants this character to be. Fill it really with your personal stories. The set designer, fill the set with also your personal ideas, what this play is evoking in you. And then I felt the main thing is really to create an environment, a safe environment for the actors to go crazy, you know, and feel good about it. And I think that's really what as a director I have to do.
So what is the process in deciding which project you take on, for instance, and how to proceed with it? For instance, Mario writes a play and you don't know Mario, but you take it on. What's the process?
It has really to invoke something in me. I have to find something in the play that I find interesting. It can be the theme, it can be some characters, it can be a situation, and then I take it on. And then I also think when this play is right now in my hand and I'm asked to direct it, maybe there's already something the universe wants me to try here. And so it's really the process also with what kind of playwrights I know, what kind of scripts I get sent and things like that.
So Mario, I want to put that same question to you in terms of what is the process that you have in taking on a project, or what's that special thing in that particular piece that pulls you to that project?
I think that's more mysterious for me. I think that it's very much the way I've gone through life. I'm very open and following the flow of life. And I think that if I had to name something, you get the sense there are many doors that get closed for you, in life and as an artist, but there are the doors that open and they're saying yes. And those doors I follow because I think that it's really, really, really important to feel supported in what we do. And I feel that we have something to say and we value what we have to say in our work. And therefore, a clear message of life saying, yes, go this way. Then I follow that. And then I deal with whatever I encounter. If there are shifts, then I acknowledge the shifts, and if I have to end the process, I end it. But that has made it possible for me to sustain my work for a very long time.
Yeah, I feel totally the same. It's really this hand in hand with what's going on right now.
Yes.
Which playwrights do you look up to? Classically, contemporary wise?
It's a torture, Ozzy, really. Normally I would say, okay, I really love some Shakespeare, I really like Chekhov, I really like Arthur Miller, I really like wild new plays, Martin McDonough is great, but why I say it's a torture is there are so many good plays right now written by African American women and men that are incredible. They inspire me, they have great rhythm, they have great ideas, they are very funny, they are very edgy and right to the moment because, I'm white. White directors were always had the privilege of choose first. That's not anymore the case. So I think, okay, I'm a little bit in the wrong decade to choose something because these plays will be not offered to me. But I love them and I enjoy seeing them and reading about them. I don't have to always do them, but there's so much great material right now and I totally enjoy that.
Two definitely come to mind immediately are August Wilson, Arthur Miller, without question. I've read many plays in the past. They really tremendously influenced me. Women of color writers. I'm talking going back to the 80s when I was going to college, and their voice was so powerful to me because it really spoke to me, especially, many of them were also lesbians. As a gay man who gravitates towards the feminine very strongly, but a conscious femininity, not an unconscious femininity. Those voices were really, really profound in my life. So I love the works of people who are critical and they see what is wrong and they have something to say about it,
So what is then now the approach to actors in your production? Because in a sense, I got a hint from Andreas in terms of how he likes an open space for actors to involve themselves as well as make their input. What's yours?
Depends, of course, of the actor. When the actor is a little bit more experienced, they don't need too much structure for me. So they can really improvise, also play with each other and discover things. For me, the best thing that can happen is that at the end something comes out and I was never ever dreaming about that this would come out. Because the actors are very intelligent and bringing this intelligence together with my intelligence is something so wonderful as a process. And sometimes I have to say, no, the idea here is this way, or maybe can you go a little bit this way because it's much better for the whole thing. But normally you immediately, if you can really explain what you want, the actors normally immediately say, oh yeah, I got this, and feel inspired as well, So there must be a friendly tone, I feel, and also patience from all sides. And you need actors who love to work like this. They're not all actors like to work like this. Some actors want to have told them everything or nothing. And I also love actors when they like to express themselves physically. Like with their body, and they immediately try something and say, oh, that's really interesting. I don't know if we can take that, but it's wonderful now.
Yeah, right.
Right.
And Mario?
There has to be a door to where you go into your unconscious and things are like happening on their own, and to be able to guide an actor through it could be a very challenging process, but to guide them safely through that, and to be allowed for me also as an actor to work that way, because I'm definitely someone who works from the depths of my being like the inner of the inner out, and I like that. I like to go to those depths and to surrender. And I feel that's really important because I think that humanizes us. We're not really allowed to do that in our daily lives in the way societies are constructed. And so it's an opportunity for us to really explore what it really means to be human and to discover that and to grow from it.
So that being said, what is that joy of that job that you do when you're working with the actors on a piece, or that joy of your career? What is that thing that makes you love what you do?
There's something, I'm acting also. I was an actor before too, so I understand the thrill of try to do something bold, and it worked. Like we really created a moment right now, right? There was really some magic in the air, and this kind of thrill that doesn't happen too often, because it is really about openness and also in connection to your other actors, right? Or to the audience if you have a monologue or something. And as a director, I get a thrill out of it when I see the actor pushing through a limit they had. Maybe they not even knew it, but suddenly the voice gets strong, or they push through, or they dare to play the character in a way they wouldn't ever dare to do that beforehand, And I love that. I get a thrill out of this because that means for me he trusts me. And he trusts the process and the material, and that's what I do. And then the thrill is when everything comes together and the audience responds in a way that is unique to theater,
For me, it's very much like almost a primeval experience that is very close to our experience when we were children. Do you remember how, as a child, you would just like totally surrender to a situation, totally be in the moment, as if you were playing or you were doing an activity or, with other people, and you didn't think about anything. It was like you were in it, you were immersed in it, and you had all kinds of emotions. And there was a freedom in it. It could be joyful, you could be crying. It didn't matter. It was often intense, but it was fun. And I mean that in the best sense of the word, like that pure joy of release, that you can think about it afterwards, you can analyze it, you can reflect on it. But it doesn't matter because nothing can really explain it. It was the lived experience of total surrender. And that's when it's like, oh my God, that is joy, and you want it, and you value it, and you crave it, and you live for it.
How does it feel where you are now based on the journey? And it was not easy, from Mexico to what you went through, being here, living here, the experience of university, and where you are now in short form.
I'm going to tell you something that I've never said before. This is the first time, so you gets to be heard here.
Ooh, a scoop.
No, it was something I was reflecting on 2 days ago, because all of a sudden I realized that what gave my life meaning was an undercurrent of something that was, in a sense, applied to every single situation. And I didn't really know it, but it was to see what was not true. And as a result, to see what was closer to the truth. And the moment I realized that, it made sense of my entire life in a way that I felt a complete release, because I suddenly didn't feel like I had to solve something or there was something left for me to accomplish. I understood my journey, and I understood that I could only understand that after having lived almost 60 years. And that was for me what was the case. I wouldn't say that's for everybody, but I was able to understand it for myself. I could make sense of all the pain, all the hurts, all the broken relationships, all the good relationships, all the journeys, all the travels, all the experiences, all the, everything.
And for you, Andreas, your journey from Cologne and coming here, and what is yours? What is your story? How do you feel about where you are? now?
Still a developing story, you know. I was very tired of the theater structures in Germany. I had no inspiration really, and I felt like I don't know, in a one-end street, you know, in a cul-de-sac. And then when I came here, and I thought, okay, now, and I also, you know, I never was able to combine my profession with my love life. And so when I came here and directed here for a company, and then I met Mario and I fell in love, and then suddenly there was this openness for a moment to come here and try and be with somebody you love. And this jump, this leap of faith, that was something I never did in such a way than in the moment I came here. And I was already 40 when I came here. So then really understanding my journey and being here and producing, I produced a lot, and then there was a career change for me too, because acting wise I couldn't survive here, or directing wise. So I became a journalist also, and I became a very good radio journalist. So that's suddenly I could sustain myself with a totally new idea of earning money, and suddenly I felt more, you know, more secure in myself, more safe, more I will figure it out. And this idea is very American, this positivity, this you will figure it out, you know, you just try. While in Germany it would be like, yeah, you probably will not figure it out and you will not try, you stay home. You know, it's more like they're more pessimistic outlooks.
Right.
And I was so in need of this optimism, of this freedom of expression too, the mixture, the diversity, the different cultures that all have to say something. I was thrilled to live in an area that does not exist in Germany. I was so tired of it, and I think my journey has something to do that I opened my horizon, and that's what I also mean when I say it's still developing. Because sometimes I don't understand where I am right now and how I feel, and then I say, okay, maybe that's just a new horizon opening, you know?
Right. So in terms of One Heart Productions, what was the idea behind that? In terms of the name itself, I kind of have an idea. It's a one heart between the two of you, if I'm reading that correctly, but it may not. But what was the idea in terms of forming the company?
That sounds so nice, Ozzy.
Oh.
It does, and it is true. At the point that Andreas joined the company, actually that was a company that I formed with some friends in San Francisco back in the late 90s. And so we were all in this acting class with a wonderful teacher, Rob Reese, who taught us acting combined with psycho-spiritual growth work. It was method acting. And he's a member of the Actors Studio, and he had that unbelievable tradition of commitment through art. And we decided to form this company to produce our plays that we wanted to do. And so One Heart was a symbolism of that sense of oneness and community that brought us together. And then, you know, afterwards I moved to New York City and in a sense opened the chapter of the company here. And then later on Andreas joined it, and it was like a perfect fit in terms of his philosophy, of course, and his open-heartedness.
Let me ask you, now comes the question. How did you two meet?
Ooh.
I was invited to co-direct a show from a company here, a Manhattan company, of a new play. I did a show from them in Cologne, so they invited me. I came, it was casted already, so that was very wonderful, and I came to a rehearsal, and on the stage was Mario rehearsing something because he was casted in that show. And that's all she wrote.
Yeah, but he has to tell you the whole story.
Yes.
It was an outrageous play that involved full nudity, and that was the one morning that I was for the first time going to go through that rehearsal where I had to take all my clothes off. The creator of the play of that company said to me, "You know what? I want to tell you something. There's somebody in the back." You know, and it was kind of dark there, you know. Don't worry about it. It's, you know, he's a very good friend of mine. He's a professional, and he's going to be sitting in the back, and I just want you to know, okay? And I was like, oh, okay, you know, and I was like, okay, well, I'm going to be doing this in front of audiences, so I might as well do it in front of this stranger whom I couldn't see sitting in the back.
Wow. Wow. So
And
what
then
is
the
it? Go ahead.
the main issue became then, how can I make him understand that I'm gay too?
Exactly.
So how is it like working as a partner? You work together, you live together. I mean,
We breathe together. We spend 24 hours a day
Yes.
together.
It's a process I like most. So sometimes we invent this project, where we bring playwrights and actors together and we work on a theme. That was in the beginning two big things. In one you were part of, and the slavery project. And I thought that was our way also to come together and to learn how to work together. Because Mario has a very specific view and a wonderful way to guide actors, and I could just observe and made more like an overview about how the show should be staged. And so suddenly we felt like we really have a good energy together, and we have a good idea of what we want to see on the stage, what makes us excited about what we see. We have the same or very similar energies. Then later when I direct his shows, then sometimes I had to say, okay, can you pause a moment? I have to talk to the playwright now. And then Mario said, okay, here's the playwright. And we talked with the playwright. So, okay, now can you switch back to the actor? Because now I have to understand. It was funny, sometimes also hard, but you learn together, and we really, really like each other. So we never angry at each other a long time.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. We've butted heads at times, definitely. But what becomes so obvious in that process is like the tremendous trust we have for each other. So that has been instrumental in our work, because when I think about who do I want to work with, who do I want to collaborate with in a project, there needs to be trust. And that comes from knowing people, having worked with them, etc., and liking them, but also seeing how they relate. So we do the projects that we have done for quite a while have been pretty much like by invitation. Mm-hmm. It's the people that we know, that we trust, that we like, we enjoy working with, and we know we can count on them, and they're going to be professional and give it their best.
Right. Right. What do you advocate for, especially in this time that we're living in as well?
Something that is very important for me is freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Really, freedom and also justice. And me personally, I love to see angry people on stage, because this times makes you crazy angry, and I like when the theater can pick that up, and because there is a conviction in it, and there should be space for it, for this kind of expression and for different kind of courses. But I'm not advocating for I don't have a theme that like diversity or feminism, or I love gay stories, for example, but it doesn't have to be. But if I do one, it should be like with all the freedom it needs to be. So I think choosing a project has something to do with going in there in full force. If the theme of the play is justice and reparation, then it should be about that. And then I try everything to open up towards this issue too, because some of the issues are not mine for originally, but I try to make them mine.
Mario?
For me, I feel like I am fiercely committed to the truth, and that's what's the most important thing for me in everything. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, certainly in the times that we're living through, we really need to examine, I feel, very, very deeply, all of humanity. What is the truth? What is true, And that's not an easy task. It's not an easy understanding to come to. It can take a lifetime to even begin to grasp what that means. Mm. But I think that we are so conditioned and so manipulated to identify with and believe so many lies and so many layers of untruth that is the most important, the most fundamental thing that we could all commit to. And from there, I believe freedom comes from there, justice comes from there, change comes. But if you cannot get to what is true and what is not, then, and that's what people are fighting about all the time, right? What their sense of what the truth is. Even someone like this kid who killed all these children, he has some sense in his mind of what is the truth, and that's what he is like willing to kill and die for, literally. And if he doesn't understand it, as obviously he didn't understand remotely what is the truth, then it leads to all kinds of chaos and mayhem and destruction in the world.
How has COVID affected you positively or negatively?
Oh, God. Negatively, we both have long COVID after being quite sick. And we had several friends who died and have been ill, so...
I can say COVID stopped for me creating theater. It might come back, but it stopped it, and I invested more and more time into journalistic work, which is fine, but I'm missing it. I'm really missing directing and working with actors. And I'm not such an online guy. Like Zoom, I don't want to direct on Zoom. I can maybe, probably, but I don't want to. For me, it's really about being with people together in a room and feeling each other. So that was sad. That's sad. What is good on COVID is that it made me realize that I need to slow down and nothing bad happened to me if I do this. I don't have to take on every project there is. It's okay. I don't have to do this. It's okay with me. And when I realized I have long COVID, then I reached out to everybody I work for and told them, and there was so much love and understanding coming back, so I could set a totally new rhythm of work, because I cannot focus and concentrate so long on one piece. So I reinvented new rhythms to work, and I think this kind of flexibility was very good for me to learn through COVID. And the last thing I want to say is it made me even feel more close to Mario, and that's incredible because we were like guaranteed together, and I felt like he has my back. It's wonderful.
Wow. Well, it was very, very important. I'm so sorry to hear about the long COVID. It's great to see you guys. You guys look wonderful.
Thank you.
It makes me feel really happy.
Thank you, Ozzy.
But it was very important to have you on my thank you tour, because since meeting you guys at the Slavery Project with that piece, Birmingham Reunion, which is a piece I absolutely fell in love with, I think reserves a space right there on Broadway. It has impacted me just as you guys have impacted me. What you stand for, what you do, what you have done. Even now, Andreas, you're doing your podcast while going through the things that you're going through, and your podcast is top shelf in everything, in terms of music, in terms of the content, in just everything. It was very important for me to have you in this space with me. As we say, we never know what's going to happen in this present existence that we're in. Yes. And I needed you to let you know that you are very important in my life. And with that,
thank you so much.
I'm going to say something here to my audience. Also, audience, thank you very much for spending your valuable time with us today. Please care to share. And remember, when you're on your beat, stay on the sunny side of the street safely. Be wellness conscious. Understand that this thing is still out there. So be careful. Be kind to one another on the little things as well as the big. The little things. So Andreas and Mario, I do appreciate you spending this time. I hope it was okay for you with the questions.
Yes, so interesting questions. Thank you, Ozzy.
Welcome.
Yes, very interesting, really. Now we have to talk about Mario. We have to talk about this.
And it has been an absolute pleasure to work with you. And I remember the first time we met very clearly at an audition, and we sat next to each other. And I said, "Do you have a business card by any chance?" And you said, "Sure."
Yes.
And then I kept it.
Yes.
And yes.
Guys, thank you so much for this time. Love you guys very much. I am there for you.
Thank you.
I'm
Thank
there
you
for
so
you.
much.
Yes, in my prayers with this thing. Be blessed.
You too.
You too.
Stay safe. And thank you very, very much for this time.
Thank you, Ozzy.
Thank you, Ozzy.
Love you.
Big kiss, big kiss.
Kisses. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey there. Please help us in our mission to support those facing fatal diseases through our t-shirt sales by donating or shopping at aussiestewart.com or supporting us at anchor.fm/AussieStewart. That's ANCHOR.FM/AussieStewart. And don't forget to subscribe on our YouTube channel at Aussie Stewart. Yep. Leave a comment.